Hello and welcome back to my vlog.
V-R-O-G.
Hello everyone and welcome back to At Home with Jared and Gareth now.
Hi.
So today's video is all about Lola.
She's talking to you and then you don't say anything back. And when you talk to us, come on in.
So there's Lola running around. Oh, her toy's gone under the thing. Hang on a momento. So I just wanted to give you a bit of background and context to how we come to get Lola, because I know a lot of people that know us were a bit surprised, weren't they? That mainly comes from the fact that Gareth plain said for years and years he would never have a dog, didn't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
And I think that comes from growing up. My family, we always had dogs, whereas your family didn't tend. So you never had a dog growing up. You had more sort of small animals like
Gerbils, budgies, those kind of things.
So I knew that I always wanted a dog, and my dream dog has always been a Dachshund. So I always knew that I wanted one. When then we did a bit of research into different sort of dog breeds, we found that there was a standard Dachshund and then there was a miniature Dachshund, and said that it would be better to have a smaller dog, wouldn't it? Well, to be fair, Gareth went from I never want a dog in my whole entire life to I want a Labrador, I want a Husky, I want a Greyhound, a Dalmatian. So I had to rein him in and we had to pick one breed. And I know people will be like, oh, well, if it was your favourite breed, then clearly I influenced it. I actually didn't, did I?
No.
We explored every sort of dog breed and we come to the conclusion that the miniature Dachshund would be a really good dog for us because they were smaller. So there's like less maintenance. We didn't really want a dog that you had to get groomed and like cut and styled, because that's just extra expense and sort of effort that we didn't want to take on.
Allergies?
My allergies played a big part in it, so I'm allergic to anything long-haired.
Sorry.
Sorry to all the long-haired women out there. So we knew that we had to have a short-haired dog. We did explore the hypoallergenic dogs, but we're not really into sort of cockapoos and those types of dogs. Not because there's anything wrong with them, just because that wasn't a dog we wanted.
And they are larger as well.
Yeah. So we settled on the miniature Dachshund just because it was a dream dog that I always wanted. Gareth did a lot of research and the negatives were outweighed by the positives of the breed, weren't they? There are a few negatives, such as they are prone to IVDD,
which is their back problems.
Yeah, and some certain types of Dachshund, so like doubled apples and anything sort of lighter like the Isabellas, they can sometimes go deaf and blind.
Or blue coloured.
Yeah, or the blue ones. Colour wise, we decided that if we were going to get a Dachshund, the sort of most iconic and traditional colour is the black and tan. So we decided that we would go for the black and tan. Yeah. We looked for months, didn't we, to find a dog. We first of all explored sort of the dog adoption sites, because I'm a firm believer in if there's a dog that is in need of rehoming, then I would prefer to do that over buying a dog. But we found that all of the sort of adoption places that we contacted, they weren't really helpful, were they?
They weren't as helpful as I thought they would be.
No.
If they were trying to rehome the dogs. I suppose we kind of thought you'd inquire about the dog, and the dogs that were on the website should be the ones that are available, which wasn't the case because they'd been taken. And by the time that we'd filled out the lengthy forms inquiring about the dog, we would then be responded with
there's already a lot of interest.
There's already a lot of interest, and every dog that you had to inquire about, you'd have to fill out a lengthy form for, rather than having to fill out one form and then kind of showing interest in the dogs that are on.
So we then thought, well, in keeping up with the breed standards, we wanted to find a reputable breeder. And we did have our name down with 2 or 3, didn't we? And we were prepared to wait for a dog that we knew was coming from a good bloodline and a good standard of dog.
And Kennel Club registered for the protection of the...
So, disclaimer, Kennel Club sometimes causes a divide. We're not saying you have to have a Kennel Club registered dog, because we do know people that don't have Kennel Club registered dogs that are still good temperaments and lovely dogs. But to have a Kennel Club registered dog is that sort of peace of mind that you know where your dog has come from.
To register for the Kennel Club, both parents have to be Kennel Club registered. The mum has to be over a year old. They can't have any more than 4 litters. And I think they can't have any litters after the age of, 7. I think about 7 or 8. So it's there in interest to protect the mother. And also then you know that you're buying a pedigree dog, rather than some people are being told that they're going to be getting a particular type of breed, but actually later on, once the dog has developed into its adult stage, it was a mix of lots of different dogs.
As I said, we were on the breeders list, a few different breeders that we knew and were referred by a particular person in the dachshund world that we knew we could trust. But we had gone up to South Wales to visit my family, and by chance I stumbled across a litter of puppies that were PRA clear, and... Which
is to do with the eyes and ears.
Yeah, so PRA called 1 clear, and KC registered, Kennel Club registered. We just done something spontaneous, didn't we?
I think we realised at that point that we had inquired at so many different breeders that by the time we've gone through all of the questioning and they've questioned us about different things, the dogs had already been reserved. And the particular breeder that we went to, all of the dogs were reserved within, I think, about half an hour.
Yeah.
So we know that we had to act quickly if we wanted this particular dog.
So it had been posted on the Kennel Club, and I had picked it up within, I think, 3 or 4 minutes of it being posted. So I contacted the breeder and asked if there was any left. We wanted a female, just for personal reasons. We wanted a female because I've only ever had female dogs growing up, and I'm used to having female dogs. She said that she had only 3 females in the litter. 1 she was keeping for herself, and 1 had already been secured, so there was only 1 left, which was Lola. And I said to Gareth, look, this breeder is up in Middlesbrough, and we were in South Wales at the time, so it was a 4-hour drive, 3 or 4 hours.
It was 4.5-hour drive.
4.5-hour drive. And Gareth said to me, which I think shocked me the most, can we just go now? So we decided that we would go in midday in the car for 4.5 hours, and we were picking up the dog, because the dog, when Lola was advertised, she was already 8 weeks, which I think is really good, because then you can just go and assess the situation and have the dog there and then. I contacted the breeder and said, we want to come up and look at the dog today. She asked if we were considering taking the dog away, and we said no, didn't originally.
I don't like to kind of jump into things. I'm very kind of a cautious person.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. We didn't really know the breeder, so we were going with the intention of finding out the ins and outs, seeing the dogs, and then making a decision. But when we got there, we realised that the breeder was a very, very reputable breeder. All of her dogs had been shown at Crufts. They were all Kennel Club registered, very knowledgeable, so friendly with her, and we speak to her on a regular basis, which is good for us.
I think it was important for us to kind of, and for her to kind of keep in contact.
Yeah, so she can see that, you know, Lola's come to a loving home, and we know that if we need anything, which we've spoken to her about a few different things, she's more than willing to help out, which is fantastic. So cut a long story short, we ended up taking Lola home the same day, and it was the best decision we ever done, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We got to see her interact with all of her siblings and her mum, and it was just really nice. And in a way, I think that was better than sort of with what the route we were going to go down was. We were on the list with the breeders. We would secure a puppy when they were born, and then you have to wait the 2 months. So I think it was better in a way because you cut out all of that wait period.
And I think I find some people find that wait quite torturous.
I know that people will probably be thinking, did we only get a dog because of lockdown? That didn't play a factor in it, did it?
No.
It wasn't because of lockdown at all. It was because, as we said, the right dog came at the right time. It was a bonus that it was lockdown because we were able to work from home, so we spent a lot of time training Lola, and we took her to puppy classes. We formed a really good bond with Lola now, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't play a factor. I think that's important for us to communicate. But yeah, we just love her, don't we?
Yeah, she's great.
It was challenging at times where we crate trained Lola, which is another controversial subject. People don't really like crate training. We wanted to crate train one because the crate forms a sort of safe place for Lola. So she knows if she's a bit overwhelmed by anything, she has a crate that she can go in, and that's her own space. And also, if there ever was an issue with IVDD or any sort of back-related issues, she's got, again, a safe place to go and sort of get better.
They need to be crate rested.
Yeah.
So if they're familiar with the crate, then that helps that kind of journey.
Crate training was horrific for the first month, I would say. She woke up 5-6 times a night. But it was horrific in the fact that we didn't get much sleep, but it wasn't horrific to the point of where we regretted it because we knew that it was a lot of responsibility. You don't take on a dog unless you have time to commit to the dog. We worked through it for a month, and now she is a dream. She does go in and out still. Sometimes she'll wake up once a night, sometimes she'll sleep all the way through. We can deal with waking up once a night, can't we? That's sort of our routine now. We don't really sleep past 5 anymore because that's Lola's sort of waking up time, which is fine for us because then it gives us more time to do what we need to do. So if anyone is out there looking to get a dog and thinking about crate training, do it and stick to it. It will be challenging and it will feel like never ending, but you will pull through and it will be fine.
We had to use treats, didn't we, inside the crate? So
you have to get familiar with the crate first.
Yeah. So you would have like a cover or a blanket over the crate. So it's almost like a safe den for them.
We got familiar with the crate downstairs in the daytime, didn't we? So we would feed her in the crate, put treats down and lock the door for very small periods of time until she was used to it. And then it got to the point of in the evenings, she just goes up to bed into her crate. When she falls asleep, we shut the door. She got a toy? And she wakes up sometimes between midnight and 1 o'clock for a wee. We take her out and then she goes back in her crate and she wakes up between 5, 6 and 7 in the morning, and then she does then come into our bed for a couple of hours in the morning, doesn't she? The other big thing was toilet training. So in the breeder's house, she was puppy pad trained. And when we brought her home, we continued with puppy pad training. Looking back on it, we regret puppy pad training because it was quite a challenging time moving from pad to outside. The way that we done it, which may or may not work for you, was we gradually removed puppy pads to just one next to the back door. She did have a few accidents here, there and everywhere because she's used to having puppy pads up in our bedroom, in the kitchen and in the living room. We're positively trained Lola, so we never sort of reprimanded her or shouted at her for doing things. You would just literally clean it up and get on with your day, and we just positively reinforced for the things that she'd done that we wanted her to do. So we introduced bells, different types of bells that you can use. So there's the sort of reception desk bell, ding,
Karen.
yeah, or there's these. So we have this one hanging on the door in the dining room, and we have one hanging on the back door. So basically what we done was we got Lola familiar with touching the bell with her paw or her nose. So we would just literally hold the bells, and when she touched it in any way, we clicked a clicker and give her a treat. So that was getting her familiar and reinforcing the behaviour of using the bell. Then we started taking her outside to pee. So we knew that she wanted to go if she'd slept, after she ate or drunk, about 10 minutes after she had a drink or had eaten, and after any sort of stimulation. So playtime, if people come over, any sort of stimulation, we would take her out to the toilet. And every time she went to the toilet outside, we would click with a clicker and give her a treat.
We would click the clicker after she had finished going to toilet.
It started snowing.
Oh yeah. So we would click the clicker, we would wait for her to go to toilet, then we would click it and use a cue word, which we use quickly. And we wouldn't click it before she's going to toilet, we wouldn't click it during going to toilet.
After.
It's always after she's finished going to toilet. We would click it and say quickly, and now we can take her outside, say quickly, she'll go to toilet and she'll come back in, and we would always reward her with a treat after we'd used the clicker.
Well, now we don't even have to take her out, do we? We've got her into the sequence of she rings the bell to let us know she wants to go out. We open the door, we say quickly, she jumps out, she goes to the toilet, and then we don't use the clicker anymore. We just give her a treat when she comes back in. Mm-hmm. On the treating for toileting, we used to treat her every time she went to the toilet, day and night. Outside. But we found that when we used to give her treats during the night, she was waking up more because she wanted to get a treat. Mm-hmm. So now we only give her a treat. We don't give her a treat every time now, do we? Because we're sort of pulling away from it because she's familiar with it. But we still treat her every now and again for going out in the day to just continue reinforcing that positive behaviour that we wanted. So if people are thinking about doing that, then that is a good tool for us. I'll insert a video as well of Lola doing
bells. Good girl.
So we wanted to show you a few key things that we found work for us or that Lola likes and are good. So I think if we just discuss toys. So we gave Lola a lot of soft toys when we first got her, and she destroyed them within a day, and we were for our life thinking that she would eat all of the stuffing inside. So we tend to not give her toys. If you ever give your dog any breed soft toys, do not give it to them unattended, because they can eat it and it can clog their intestines and their stomach, and you're in for a massive operation bill. Yeah, so don't do that.
We found that she really likes these little bears. There's a little squeaky thing inside, which we're not going to squeak right now.
They are the Kong bears. We call them baby bears, and she's had every colour. She had a ginger one, like a little chocolate brown one, and this is a new one for Christmas, a little grey one. And she adores these, and she carries them around in her mouth, and she loves them. Yeah. So this was, I know this is a soft toy, but it took her a few months to get it open. So these are quite good. She loves those. Nyla bones. So
especially for a teething puppy.
I can't see it there. Nyla bone. These are a godsend, aren't they? They come in all different sort of styles. So there's these traditional bones, and then they also come in like antler sort of styles. These ones have got chicken pieces inside them, and she really likes these. She's just had a bone version of that. It smells like actual chicken, but these ones are just solid, and these are good, as you said, for teething.
They last for months, those the Nyla bones, don't they?
Yeah, Lola very much enjoys those, doesn't she? She's got a selection of them, which she loves. And then another good toy that we found, we've had a pheasant and we've now got this squirrel, which Lola's going to react to. So it's this squirrel.
This is from Pets at Home.
This is from Pets at Home. There's a squeaker in the tail, and then the body is like that.
She likes playing with that one.
Yeah, it's like a rustly material. She loves playing with that. She throws it around. It occupies it for a long time, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And she also has a little ball, a sports pet ball. This is also from Pets at Home. And she loves this, doesn't she? She absolutely loves this. She runs around with it all day. So these are good for miniature Dachshunds. She also has other toys. She has like other sort of hard ones for teething, but I'm not going to sit here and show you a toy haul because that will take forever. Some of you may not know. I knew, Gareth didn't know. Dogs have baby teeth the same as adults, and they do actually fall out. And we kept a few of Lola's. People are going to think this is absolutely gross. Can you see that now? We kept a few of Lola's teeth. We'll insert a photo of those. We also have an Instagram page for Lola, which is at Lola_the sausage dog with 2 G's, which I'll put on the screen and link in the description box below. If you wanted to give her a follow, we do put some cute little pictures up. She's a sort of brand rep for a few different companies, so we do post some discount codes for some really good quality companies. One of the companies is Pretty Little Paws Boutique, which we have a load of things from, and one of them is this paw balm. So it's made with coconut oil, shea butter, olive oil, pure beeswax and lavender oil, and we just literally, let me show you that. We get a little bit on our fingers and rub it into her paws daily, and it's basically, especially now during the winter and all of the snow and the walks and stuff, it's to stop their paws from cracking. So the same as we moisturise our skin, we apply it to her paw pads because we don't want little cracked paws now, do we? On the same sort of line of grooming and pet care, we take Lola to the groomers
Every 6 weeks.
Every 6 weeks. Some people may say that's excessive, or you could do it yourself, but we just think that when she goes in for a full MOT, doesn't she? She has a blueberry facial, she has her paw pads cleaned, she has a foaming tooth gel, she has everything done. She has a wash, blow dry, obviously she doesn't get cut. She has a spritz of perfume, she comes out smelling better than I do. Full hog, she has a full-on spa treatment. And I think it's good just to keep up with her maintenance of cleanliness, and she enjoys it, doesn't she?
Mm.
She always comes out with a new little bandana. Beautiful. At home, obviously, she's gone out on a walk at lunchtime before and rolled in fox poo, and she does sometimes get dirty, so we have to give her a little wash in the sink. Give her a quick wash, and we spray her with this Puppy Fresh spray from Animology. And we use the Furminator. I told Lydia about this, and I know that she's got one now. And we find that this is the best brush we've used because it actually gets rid of the loose hairs, collects them here, and then you push this button and it releases the hair for you. So we found that that is the best brush, and she is very, very shiny, isn't she, after we've used that. Walk-wise, Lola has a new collar that she doesn't have on at the moment, which is just a sort of everyday collar. And then we also have this collar. that we put on at night time, and it has a red light on it. So there was an instance where Lola walks off lead at our house around to the garage in the back area, and it was so dark we couldn't actually see her, could we? So we invested in that, and also when we take her for a walk around the parks and the fields and stuff, it is quite dark, so it is nice to know where she is at all times. When my parents got Lola this harness for Christmas, it's fleece lined inside, and it's a slightly bigger one, which we now use for the winter, and we also pair it up with this puppy fleece, which zips up underneath, and then we pop the harness on top of it, because she's so small and she gets so cold really quickly, doesn't she? So I think it's cruel to take her out on a day like today where it's snowing, and not be wrapped up and warm. And she does enjoy them, doesn't she? Like people say, oh, don't dress up your dog. We don't put her in tutus. We literally put her in a fleece for her own comfort, so she's not freezing cold. That is all. We do actually have a waterproof coat for her from Cath Kidston, but it's a bit too big at the moment, so we're having to wait for her to grow into that. It actually may fit now. Let's try it on again. It's got a little hood on it and everything. It's so cute. And also, one last thing on the grooming sort of side, which I forgot about. We use these finger pads to clean her teeth. So it looks like a little finger bandage. You pop your finger in it, and we've desensitized Lola to sort of touching her paws and mouth and stuff. So we just literally say teeth or let me see, and she knows that means I'm going to be investigating something, and I lift the sort of sides of her mouth, clean on one side, clean on the other, and she actually quite enjoys it, and they do taste like mint, so she's always licking her lips afterwards. Moving on to treats, we give Lola a spoonful of coconut oil every now and again, and when I say spoonful, it's like half a teaspoon, because I know that these can be quite high in sugars. It's not actually that high, but I do know that if you give them too much, it can be quite bad for them. We give her half a teaspoon of coconut oil every now and again, just to help aid the shine in her coat, and she also loves the taste of it. So that's a little sort of treat every now and again. We do also give her peanut butter for dogs. She has a spoonful of that every now and again. We alternate between the coconut oil and the peanut butter, and we also sometimes put this peanut butter in her Kong treat, don't we? If we need her to be occupied for long amounts of time. So we do then have generic treats that we give her, which are sprats. So Lola absolutely loves fish, doesn't she? Sprats are a good natural treat to give her every now and again. Can't say I enjoy seeing a fish hanging out of her mouth with eyes on and everything, but she enjoys it, so that's what matters.
She really gets a good crunch out of them.
Yep, she does. And on the fish subject, she also has these salmon strips. So they are low in fat, high in protein, and gluten-free. They are literally just dried out salmon strips. She really, really liked those. They are Fisherman's Dog brand. She also enjoys duck fillet strips. So we have the Deli Dog range, and we have these Rosewood range, which were new this year for Christmas. They're actually from Aldi. And she does really like duck as well, doesn't she, as a treat? She does eat that up quite quickly.
Anything that's quite smelly, kind of really deep
meaty
flavour.
And we also feed her these, we don't feed her, we give her these as treats, pure chicken strips. So they're grain-free, gluten-free, and then they've got no sort of added nonsense for the sake of it. They're quite natural and organic. And then we do feed her, we do treat her with these, it's like the Purina Adventurous range. So there's buffalo nuggets, which she now eats as a whole nugget. But when she was a bit smaller, we used to break them up into little strips, and we actually used these for toilet training. And then there's these venison strips, which she's actually got right now. And she likes those. So they're not sort of organic, natural treats as such, but Purina is a good brand that I trust, and they're low in fat, and they don't have any sort of artificial colorants or ingredients in them. So I'm comfortable feeding these to Lola. And then she does have a few other little training treats that we use, but we also use these liver treats. So they are 100% dehydrated pure liver. So we buy them from a person that we found on Facebook. I'll link down below if you want to purchase from her. Her name is Iona. These are Lola's high value treats. So we use these for new sort of commands that we need to teach, or we use them for walks. So we like Lola to stop at a junction, and we use the command wait, and she will stand and wait, and then we'll say go. She'll go across to the other side of the road, and then we'll give her a piece of liver when she's at the other side. And we find that those liver treats enhance that massively, didn't they?
When he says liver, it sounds a bit gross, but you dry.
They're completely dehydrated pieces of liver.
And then you can just snap them into sizes that you need. They're really, really good. I just keep them in my pocket and then can treat. They do have a smell to them, but
It's not horrific.
It's not like they do.
If I'm honest, it smells like a pork scratching, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not an offensive smell.
Also have these other treats here. So this is the Pooch and Mutt range. So this is the Fresh Breath. We have these calm and relaxed ones, which she really likes. We give her one of these before bed. It's supposed to sort of help relax them. It's got chamomile and valerian root in there, so she does like them. And there's also these ones to promote health and digestion, which she also likes. They also had a Christmas dinner one, which she also really liked because it was meaty.
Likes raw egg.
Yeah, she likes... We're in a dilemma at the moment because we're thinking about maybe changing her to a raw diet, but from past experience with Lola, she likes something for a week and then she doesn't like it anymore. So we don't want to commit to a subscription of a raw diet to waste our money, basically. But she does like raw egg. She does like raw liver, heart and that type of stuff. She likes any sort of meat. But as I said, her eating's actually picked up at the moment. She is eating whatever we put in her bowl. So we feed her once in the morning and once in the evening. And she is eating it all. So this morning she had liver with some bran flakes and some kibble, and she ate all of it. And this afternoon, we don't feed her the same amount. We tend to feed her more in the morning and less in the evening. So this afternoon, she'll probably just have some kibble with a raw egg, maybe. So Gareth wants to discuss the word dachshund.
Well, we call them dachshunds. We've always called her a dachshund, but I think the proper pronunciation should be like dachshund.
Because it comes from Germany.
Yeah, which basically translates to badger dog, because they were trained to hunt badgers out.
Which you can tell really, because she does have sort of hunter instincts, doesn't she?
We also hide treats around the house, and the more that we keep using the same treat, she will find that treat quicker and quicker and quicker each time that you try and do it.
And when he says hide them, he means he'll put her into the kitchen, hide the treat in the living room, let her smell what the treat is and say find it, and she will go into the living room and physically find that treat wherever it's hidden.
I was amazed by how quickly she can, how good that sense of smell is.
Miniature dachshunds are renowned for being yappy dogs. We we can't disagree or agree with that, because she barks, but she doesn't bark
For the sake of
for the sake of barking. She barks to alert us if, like she did earlier on, that her toy has gone under something that she can't retrieve. She barks to alert us if there's sort of someone outside the front window, to tell us like there's somebody there, which is good. And we find that she does bark at children because she's had some negative experiences with children. We need to obviously work on that, because we don't want her barking at children forever. Another thing that we forgot to mention earlier is when we picked up Lola, the breeder gave us a puppy pack. There was a toy in there, there was some kibble that they used, there was a box of wet food, and all of the papers and stuff, but also
puppy
there
pads.
was... Oh yeah, puppy pads.
And then this is her blanket. Oh look. So she's 7 months old now, and it looks more and more frayed.
So this is a blanket that was given to us that the breeder had rubbed on her mum and her siblings. It stinks because we've never washed it, because we want that to be sort of her blanket. It doesn't smell that bad considering.
It just smells,
it just smells of dog.
doggy, and it's what you wrapped her in when she came home with us.
That's her sort of comforter, isn't it? If
Yeah.
she's ever feeling a bit stressed out, that's always in her crate that she sleeps in at night. So she knows that there's that familiarity, and I think it's a really good idea to have the scent of the mum and the siblings on there, because you're taking that dog away from everything it's known since the day it's been born. So to have a piece of, comfort is nice. Just have another bit. The last thing to discuss is Lola's obedience. So for a miniature dachshund who are not really renowned for obedience,
Dachshund,
sausage dog, she's very obedient, and we've taught her a lot of sort of tricks and commands, which I'll insert a video of as well. Sit. Good girl. Here, sit. Good girl. Down. Good girl. Good girl. Round. Good girl. A little bit hyperactive. Paw. Good girl. And the other. Good girl. Wait. Go. Good girl. Down. Good girl. Let's try roll over. Roll over. Good girl. I think I done a lot of the command training, didn't I? Just because I don't think you knew where to start. And I taught her, she's a natural sitter. So some dogs are natural sitters, some dogs are natural sort of lie down. She's a natural sit. So sit was the first command I started with, which didn't take very long because she naturally done it. So every time she done it, I would click and give her a treat. And then I moved on from sit to other commands. And I think my biggest achievement was wait. So we use it at the side of the road, and we also use it with food. So we use it in the sense of we put a treat down either right in front of her or across the other side of the room. You would say wait and use the full hand command. You can range the time that you do it for, and then you say go, and then she'll go and get the treat, or if we're outside, she'll go across the road.
Wait. Go.
girl. And I suppose that is a good obedient sort of command to have, but also it teaches her that if there's food on the floor that you don't want her to eat, you can say wait and she won't touch it. A used face mask on the floor, you say wait or leave, and she'll know that means I can't have that, and she'll carry on walking. So it's all good things that we've embedded at a young age, which we're now reaping the sort of benefit of, because she is very obedient, isn't she?
Yeah.
She does listen.
I think by 17 weeks you'd managed to do a whole routine, and I think we read somewhere that they were more susceptible to physical cues, from like hand cues more than verbal cues. So I think at 17 weeks you did like a whole repertoire of her routine just from using hand signals. So she really amazed me at how quickly she learned.
And as I mentioned previously, we did take Lola to puppy classes. We found the puppy classes beneficial because not only did Lola get socialisation from it with other dogs, she did also, we did learn other very good tips and techniques. Some of the things that we had learned, I had already taught Lola, but there were a lot of things that we picked up, and our trainer, Catherine, was very, very good. I know I'm biased because she's our dog, but she has been a dream, isn't she? Mm. The hardest part was the crate training at night. I didn't find the toilet training to be as difficult. Yes, we had accidents, but you just get on with it. And she's been a dream, isn't she, really? Mm. For your first ever dog.
She hasn't damaged any of our furniture.
She hasn't chewed anything. She hasn't scratched anything. She's stimulated. She has enough toys, and she doesn't need... I think a lot of, if they damage carpets, doors, skirting boards, that type of thing, is boredom, because they have nothing to do, so they're looking for things to do. They're not purposely going, they don't wake up and think, oh, I'm going to purposely try and annoy you today by, ripping your carpet up. It's because they're bored. They're looking for something to do. She's a natural digger. She digs massive holes in our back garden. We're fine with that. We don't mind, because we're not precious of our garden. If she wants to go and dig, let her dig. So that's what she was bred to do. She was bred to dig down into badger holes and retrieve the badger. So that stimulates her, but she doesn't, she has dug the crease in our sofa a few times, but we redirect that with giving her a treat or giving her a toy to play with, which tells her, don't do that, play with this instead. And she knows that her treats are for chewing on and nothing else. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. There's clips that have been inserted of different things to do with Lola, so let us know if you have enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you want to see extra videos in the future. Comment any suggestions, what you liked, what you didn't like, because we are still learning, and give it a like.
Any questions as well in the comments?
Yeah, we're more than happy. We're not trainers, we're not dog trainers. I'm happy to discuss any questions you have. If you've got a dog and you're struggling with things, or if you're thinking of getting a dog, in particular a miniature dachshund, then I'm happy to discuss anything with you. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon.
Bye.